Business Model Generation by Alexander Osterwalder and Yves Pigneur. Picture this. It's 2001. The music industry is absolutely losing its mind. This thing called the internet has just flipped their entire world like a pancake. People are sharing music for free, and the massive record labels who'd built empires selling shiny plastic discs are watching their fortunes evaporate before their eyes. Their response? Sue their own customers, build digital walls, fight the future with every weapon in their arsenal. Then something wild happens. A computer company from California, famous for making beautiful but expensive machines that only designers and creative types could afford, does something that seems completely bonkers. They release this small, white rectangular box, the iPod. Here's the thing, though. The iPod wasn't even the first digital music player. Not even close. Plenty of others had tried, and belly-flopped spectacularly. So what made this one different? Why did Apple, a computer company of all things, end up owning the music industry? The secret wasn't just the sleek white device, it was the invisible architecture humming beneath it. Apple didn't just sell you a gadget. They designed an entire ecosystem, a seamless experience. They wove together the iPod device, the iTunes software, and a brand new online store where you could legally buy any song for just 99 cents. They made it ridiculously easy. They made it elegant. They created a whole new way for the industry to function. They didn't just build a better mousetrap. They built a better mouse-catching business. And that, my friend, is exactly what we're diving into today. We're exploring a book that's less of a book and more of a secret weapon for visionaries and game changers. It's called Business Model Generation by Alexander Osterwalder and Yves Pigneur. This thing has quietly become a global sensation, selling millions of copies and becoming the Bible for Silicon Valley startups, Fortune 500 executives, and even social entrepreneurs trying to save the world. The author Alexander Osterwalder spent years grinding away at his PhD, obsessed with answering one deceptively simple question: what exactly is a business model? And how can we talk about it, redesign it, and invent completely new ones in a way that anyone can grasp? The result of that quest is what we're about to unpack together. By the time we're done, I can promise you this: you'll never look at a company, a startup, or even your kid's lemonade stand the same way again. You're about to get a secret decoder ring, a powerful lens that lets you see the hidden machinery making any organization tick. You'll understand why some giants crumble and why some scrappy upstarts, like Apple with its iPod, end up changing everything. So buckle up. Let's learn how to design the enterprises of tomorrow. Have you ever had that light bulb moment for a business idea? Maybe it's a killer app concept, a cozy neighborhood coffee shop, or a solution to a real social problem. You feel that electric spark of excitement. You can see the product in your mind. You can picture happy customers. But then, what? How do you actually turn that fuzzy spark into a real, living, breathing organization that works, creates value, and doesn't collapse after 3 months? For decades, the answer was to write a business plan. This soul-crushing, 50-page document crammed with financial projections and market analysis that was usually wrong before the ink dried. It was like trying to describe what makes someone attractive by only measuring their skeleton. Sure, you'd get the structure, but you'd completely miss what makes them interesting. The authors of Business Model Generation saw this train wreck happening over and over. They watched brilliant people struggle to explain their ideas, and established companies fail spectacularly because they couldn't see their own inner workings clearly. What everyone desperately needed, they realized, was a shared language, a simple, visual way to show how all the messy pieces of a business actually fit together. And so they created something revolutionary in its elegant simplicity, the business model canvas. Imagine a single sheet of paper, a canvas, divided into just 9 boxes. That's it, 9 boxes. These 9 simple boxes can describe any business in the world, from Amazon to a teenager selling friendship bracelets on Etsy. It's a blueprint, a treasure map showing how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. Think of it like this. The right side of the canvas is center stage. It's all about the customer, the emotional, value-driven part of the story. The left side is backstage. It's about the business machinery, the logical, efficiency-driven operations. And here's the beautiful part. Everything connects. Let's walk through this map together. Let's build a business from scratch, piece by piece. Every journey begins with the most important person in any business, the customer. The first building block is customer segments. Who exactly are you creating value for? Who are your most important customers? You can't be a Swiss Army knife trying to solve everyone's problems. Are you serving a mass market, like a smartphone manufacturer? Or a tiny, ultra-specialized niche, like someone making custom parts for vintage motorcycles? Maybe you're juggling multiple segments, like a bank with different services for everyday folks and ultra-wealthy clients. Here's a mind-blowing example. Amazon in 2006 was already a retail giant. But they realized the massive computing infrastructure they'd built to run their store could itself be a product. So they launched Amazon Web Services, selling cloud computing to other companies, a completely different customer segment. They spotted a hidden gold mine and built a whole new business around it. Once you know who you're serving, you face the next crucial question. This is the second building block, the beating heart of the canvas, the value proposition. What problem are you actually solving for your customer? What need are you satisfying? This is your bundle of products and services. It's the reason someone picks you instead of your competitor. The value you offer takes many forms. It could be sheer newness, like when smartphones first appeared and created an entirely new universe of possibilities. It could be performance, making a laptop faster or a car more fuel efficient. It could be customization, crafting something perfectly tailored to one person. Sometimes the value is simply getting the job done. Take Rolls-Royce engines. They don't just sell jet engines to airlines anymore. Instead, airlines pay for every hour an engine runs, and Rolls-Royce handles all the maintenance headaches. The airline can focus on what it does best, getting people from point A to point B. That's a brilliant value proposition. Value can also live in design, in brand and status. Think of a Rolex glinting on someone's wrist, or simply in a lower price tag. And sometimes it's about sheer accessibility, like how NetJets made private jet travel possible for successful professionals, not just billionaires, through fractional ownership. So you've got your customers and your promise to them. Now, how do you actually deliver on that promise? The third block is channels. How do you communicate with and reach your customer segments? This isn't just about delivery trucks rumbling through neighborhoods. It's the entire customer journey. How do they first discover you exist? How do they evaluate whether you're worth their money? How do they purchase? How do you get the product or service into their hands? And crucially, how do you support them after the sale? You might own your channels, like a website or physical store, or you might use partner channels, like selling through wholesalers. The magic is creating a seamless experience across all of them. Now, a one-time transaction is nice, but a relationship is something else entirely. The fourth block is customer relationships. What kind of relationship does each customer segment expect from you? Is it deeply personal, like a private banker who knows their clients' kids, names, and vacation plans? Or is it completely automated and self-service, where customers help themselves without ever talking to a human? Lately, we've seen the explosion of communities where companies create spaces for users to connect with each other, and co-creation, where customers actively help design products or create content, like how Amazon customers write reviews that guide other shoppers' decisions. If you nail these first 4 blocks, serving the right customers with the right value proposition through the right channels and relationships, you earn the prize in the 5th block, the actual lifeblood of any business, revenue streams. This is the cash flowing from each customer segment into your bank account. How are you capturing value? Is it a one-time purchase, like buying a novel? Or recurring revenue, like a monthly gym membership or Netflix subscription? Revenue takes many shapes: selling products outright, charging usage fees, subscription models, licensing your intellectual property, advertising, and more. Here's a brilliant insight from the book: how you price something can be just as game-changing as the product itself. That's the right side of the canvas, the front stage. It's all about value creation and the customer experience. But to make all of that magic happen, you need what's behind the curtain. You need infrastructure. This is the left side of the canvas. It starts with the 6th building block, key resources. What are the most important assets you absolutely need to make your business model work? These are your must-haves. They can be physical: factories, delivery trucks, retail locations. For Walmart, their massive logistics network is a key resource. Resources can be intellectual: brands, patents, proprietary knowledge. For Nike or Sony, their brand name is one of their most valuable assets. They can be human. In creative or knowledge industries, talented people are everything. And finally, resources can be financial: cold, hard cash, lines of credit, or the ability to finance customer purchases. But having resources just sitting there isn't enough. You have to do something with them. That's the 7th block, key activities. What are the most important things your company must do to make the business model work? For a software company like Microsoft, it's software development. For a computer manufacturer like Dell, it's supply chain management, getting parts from everywhere and assembling them efficiently. For a consulting firm, it's problem solving. These are the critical actions you need to perform exceptionally well. Here's the thing, though: you don't have to do everything yourself. In our hyper-connected world, almost no business is an island anymore. The 8th block is key partnerships. Who are the crucial partners and suppliers you need? Companies form alliances to optimize operations, reduce risk, or acquire resources they don't have. It could be a strategic alliance with a non-competitor, a joint venture to develop something new together, or a straightforward buyer-supplier relationship to ensure steady access to parts. Think about smartphone manufacturers. Many license the Android operating system from Google rather than building their own from scratch. That's a key partnership that saves them enormous time and money. Finally, we arrive at the foundation holding everything together. The left and right sides merge to create the 9th block, cost structure. This captures all the costs you rack up operating your business model. Once you've mapped your key resources, key activities, and key partnerships, you can calculate what everything costs. Some business models are inherently cost-driven, obsessed with being as lean as possible. Think no-frills airlines. Others are value-driven, focused on creating premium experiences where cost takes a back seat, like luxury hotels. And there you have it. The 9 building blocks: customer segments, value propositions, channels, customer relationships, revenue streams, key resources, key activities, key partnerships, and cost structure. Together they form the business model canvas, a beautifully simple tool to tell incredibly complex stories. When you map out a company on this canvas, using simple sketches or sticky notes, something magical happens. You suddenly see everything. The connections light up. The logic becomes crystal clear. The strengths and weaknesses jump out at you. You can see how changing one box creates ripples throughout the entire system. This canvas isn't some static diagram to file away. It's a dynamic tool for conversation, creativity, and transformation. It becomes your playground for asking powerful what-if questions. What if we targeted a completely different customer segment? What if we offered our core value proposition for free? What if we ditched our most expensive resource and found a partner to provide it instead? Suddenly, business strategy isn't some mysterious art hidden in boring PowerPoint decks. It's tangible, visual, and even fun. Once you understand this map, this fundamental language of business, you start spotting recurring patterns in the wild. The authors identified several of these powerful patterns, like proven recipes that visionaries have used, sometimes accidentally, to build game-changing enterprises. Let's explore some of these patterns that are reshaping industries. First up is unbundling business models. The insight here is that many huge companies are actually three different businesses awkwardly stuffed into one, and these businesses naturally conflict with each other. There's the customer relationship business, finding and keeping customers. There's the product innovation business, creating new offerings. And there's the infrastructure management business, running large-scale efficient operations. These three need completely different cultures, economics, and people. Think about a traditional private bank. They try doing all three: building deep relationships with wealthy clients, inventing new financial products, and running a massive transaction platform. The book argues this creates inevitable conflicts. The product team pressures relationship managers to push the bank's own products, even when they're not the best fit for clients. The cost-obsessed infrastructure business clashes with the high-talent, high-pay culture needed for innovation. The solution? Unbundle them. Separate these businesses. Excel at one and partner for the others. We're seeing this in mobile telecom. Companies are realizing their real asset isn't their physical network of cell towers. It's their brand and customer relationships. So they're outsourcing network operations to equipment specialists like Ericsson, who can run them more efficiently while focusing their energy on serving customers brilliantly. Then there's a pattern the internet made famous, the long tail. Coined by Chris Anderson, this model is about selling less of way more things. The traditional approach was all about blockbusters, selling massive quantities of a handful of hit items. A physical bookstore could only stock so many titles, so they focused on bestsellers. But online, shelf space is infinite. Amazon can offer millions of books, not just the top few thousand. Many niche books sell only a handful of copies yearly. But when you add up sales across millions of obscure titles, the total revenue can match or even beat the bestsellers. That's the long tail in action. The book shares this wonderful example of Lulu.com, which completely upended traditional publishing. Conventional publishers reject thousands of manuscripts because they don't think they'll sell enough copies to justify the printing costs. Lulu.com, though, lets anyone publish their book. They use print-on-demand technology. A book only gets printed when someone actually orders it. Zero inventory costs. A book selling just 10 copies? Perfectly profitable for Lulu. They've created a platform for a long tail of user-generated content, connecting niche authors with the niche audiences hungry for their work. This leads beautifully into another powerful pattern: multi-sided platforms. These businesses bring together two or more distinct but interdependent groups of customers. A multi-sided platform only works if all sides participate. This creates the classic chicken and egg problem. Consider a video game console, like the Nintendo Wii. It needs to attract players. But players only buy the console if great games exist for it. And game developers only create games if enough players own the console. So how do you break this deadlock? Often by subsidizing one side to attract the other. Google masters this brilliantly. Their business runs on a three-sided platform. They serve us web surfers with an amazing search engine completely free. They serve content owners, people with websites, with tools to display ads and earn money, also free. They subsidize both groups to attract the third side, the one actually paying for everything, advertisers. The more people searching and the more websites showing ads, the more valuable the platform becomes to advertisers willing to pay top dollar to reach those audiences. Credit card companies follow the same playbook. They connect cardholders and merchants. They need huge numbers of both to succeed. That's why they shower you with rewards and sign-up bonuses. One of the most mind-bending patterns, especially in our digital world, is free as a business model. The idea that you can build a massive, wildly profitable business by giving your core product away seems crazy, but it's everywhere. The book breaks down several approaches. One path is advertising, which, as we saw with Google, is really a multi-sided platform in disguise. Another is the freemium model, offering a basic service free to build a huge user base, then charging a small percentage for premium features. Think Spotify or Flickr. Millions use the free version, subsidized by the few paying for extra storage, ad-free listening, or advanced features. The secret? The cost of serving one more free user has to be practically zero, which is why this thrives online. Then there's the classic bait-and-hook model, also called razors and blades. You sell an initial product dirt cheap, or even give it away to lock customers into buying high-margin, recurring products. Gillette pioneered this by practically giving away razor handles to create a captive market for disposable blades. Today's printer manufacturers do the same, selling printers at a loss to make a fortune on expensive ink cartridges. Mobile phone companies give you a free phone when you sign a 2-year service contract. The final pattern is reshaping how giants innovate, open business models. The core idea is that in a world overflowing with knowledge, not all the brilliant people work for you. So open up your innovation process. This happens two ways. Outside-in innovation brings external ideas, technologies, and intellectual property into your company. Procter & Gamble famously adopted their connect and develop strategy, setting a goal for half their innovations to originate outside the company, partnering with inventors, scientists, and other firms to discover breakthrough products. Then there's inside-out innovation. This happens when you've got valuable assets, patents, or technologies sitting unused in a drawer. Instead of letting them gather dust, license them out or spin them off, creating new revenue streams. GlaxoSmithKline created a patent pool for drugs treating neglected diseases, allowing other researchers to build on their work to help the world's poorest populations. These patterns, unbundling, the long tail, multi-sided platforms, free and open innovation, aren't abstract theories gathering dust in academic journals. They're real-world strategies that have created and destroyed entire industries. With the business model canvas, you can map them, understand their logic, and even mash them together to create something completely new. But knowing the map and recognizing patterns is one thing. How do you actually create a breakthrough business model from scratch? How do you summon a world-changing idea out of thin air? This is where the book shifts gears, moving from analysis to pure creation. It introduces powerful techniques borrowed from the design world. The message is clear. To innovate in business, we can't just think like managers shuffling spreadsheets. We need to think like designers. The first technique is developing deep customer insights. This goes way beyond traditional market research with its surveys and focus groups. It's about cultivating genuine empathy. The book introduces this wonderful tool called the empathy map. It helps you climb inside your customer's head and truly understand their world. You explore questions like, what do they see in their daily environment? What do they hear from friends and influencers? What do they really think and feel deep down, beyond what they're willing to say publicly? What are their pains and frustrations that keep them up at night? And what are their dreams, their hopes and aspirations? By building this rich, three-dimensional profile, you transcend boring demographics and start understanding the actual human being you're trying to serve. That's where genuine innovation opportunities hide. Once you've got that deep understanding, you move to ideation. This is about generating a massive pile of ideas. The secret here is quantity over quality, at least initially. You need to create a judgment-free zone where you can challenge sacred cows and imagine the impossible. The book suggests using powerful what-if questions to shatter your current assumptions. What if airlines didn't sell tickets but monthly subscriptions? What if car manufacturers didn't sell cars but mobility as a service? What if voice calls were free worldwide? These questions might sound insane, but companies like Skype and Zipcar turned them into billion-dollar realities by designing the right business model around them. As ideas multiply, you need to make them tangible, which brings us to visual thinking. This is the core philosophy behind the canvas itself. Using pictures, sketches, and sticky notes transforms abstract concepts into concrete objects. A drawing of a business model becomes a shared artifact that teams can discuss, debate, and improve together. You don't need to be Picasso. Simple stick figures and basic diagrams work better than pages of dense text because they clarify relationships and help everyone grasp the big picture instantly. From there, you dive into prototyping. In design, a prototype isn't a nearly finished product. It's a thinking tool. It's how you explore an idea's possibilities. A business model prototype might be a rough napkin sketch, a more detailed canvas, or even a simple spreadsheet simulating the financials. The goal isn't perfection. It's building multiple rough versions of your idea to explore different paths. What if we try this revenue model? What if we target that customer segment instead? Prototyping lets you learn fast, fail cheaply, and discover the best path forward without betting everything on an untested idea. Once you've got a promising prototype, you need to get others excited about it. You need buy-in. The final design technique is storytelling. Business models can feel complex and intimidating, and new ones face resistance simply because they're unfamiliar. A story makes your model tangible and emotionally engaging. Instead of just presenting 9 boxes, tell a story from a customer's perspective, showing how your new model solves a real problem in their life. Or tell it from an employee's view, illustrating the internal logic and benefits. A compelling story can win hearts and minds of managers, investors, and employees in ways that spreadsheets never could. These design techniques transform strategy from a dry, analytical slog into a creative, dynamic, human-centered adventure. But even the most brilliantly designed business model doesn't exist in a bubble. It has to survive and thrive in the messy real world. This brings us to the final piece, strategy. The book encourages mapping your business model's environment, understanding the external forces that can make or break you. What are the key market trends? Who are your competitors? And what do their business models look like? What emerging technologies could disrupt everything? What regulatory pressures are building? By understanding this landscape, you can design a more resilient and competitive model. A crucial concept here is blue ocean strategy, developed by W. Chan Kim and Renee Mauborgne. The idea is to stop slugging it out in bloody red oceans, crowded with competition, and instead create new, uncontested market space, a blue ocean. You achieve this through value innovation, simultaneously cranking up value for customers while slashing costs. The book shows how to blend this with the business model canvas. You ask 4 liberating questions about your industry. Which factors can we eliminate that everyone takes for granted? Which can we reduce way below industry standards? Which can we raise dramatically above the norm? And which can we create that nobody's ever offered? The classic example is Cirque du Soleil. They looked at the struggling traditional circus industry. They eliminated the most expensive elements, star performers and animals. They dialed down the goofy slapstick humor. They upgraded venues to theater-quality spaces. And they created something entirely new: thematic productions, artistic atmosphere, and refined entertainment. By doing this, they created a blue ocean. They weren't competing with other circuses anymore. They were competing with theater and opera, attracting sophisticated adults willing to pay premium prices for a completely different experience. When you apply these 4 questions to each of the 9 canvas blocks, you can systematically challenge every assumption about your business and discover paths to your own blue ocean. Finally, the book lays out a clear 5-phase process for business model innovation. It starts with mobilize, preparing for the journey and assembling your team. Then comes understand, immersing yourself in research and customer insights. The 3rd phase is design, the creative heart where you use all these techniques to generate and prototype new models. 4th is implement, executing your chosen design in the real world. And the final phase, manage, is about continuously evolving your model based on market feedback, because in today's world, no business model lasts forever. From a simple 9-box canvas to powerful patterns, creative design techniques, and profound strategic frameworks, business model generation provides a complete system for thinking about business. It takes the complex, mysterious art of building successful enterprises and makes it accessible, visual, and actionable for everyone. It gives you tools, not just to understand the world as it is, but to design the world as it could be. As we wrap up our journey through business model generation, I keep coming back to why this book has resonated so deeply with so many people. It's not just because it's smart. Plenty of business books are smart. I think its power comes from a very simple, profoundly human truth. We think better when we can see things. For ages, business strategy was trapped in the land of pure language, buried in lengthy reports, intimidating spreadsheets, and abstract jargon. It was a world for specialists and consultants. This book did something radical. It gave us a picture. The business model canvas is more than just a clever tool. It's an invitation. It invites everyone to the table: the engineer, the marketer, the CEO, the fresh intern, to draw, dream, and debate how an organization actually works. It democratized strategy. The most powerful lesson I take from this book is that a business model isn't some static document gathering dust in a filing cabinet. It's a living, breathing story. It's a story about who you serve, what you promise them, and how you deliver on that promise. And like any compelling story, it needs to be told, retold, and sometimes completely rewritten from scratch. The book doesn't just teach you how to write that story. It teaches you how to embrace constant, creative questioning. What I absolutely love is that these lessons reach far beyond corporate boardrooms. Are you an artist trying to make a living from your passion? Map out your business model. Who are your fans, your customer segments? What unique emotion does your art provide, your value proposition? How do people discover you, your channels? How do you actually make money, your revenue streams? The canvas works beautifully. Starting a nonprofit? The canvas works there too. It forces clear thinking about who your beneficiaries are, who your donors are, and how you create sustainable value for both. This isn't just a book about building companies. It's a book about building anything of lasting value. If there's one action you can take today to bring these ideas to life, here it is. Grab literally anything, a napkin, the back of an envelope, a piece of paper, and try mapping the business model of something you know well. It could be your local coffee shop, your favorite app, or even your gym. Don't stress about perfection. Just try filling in the 9 blocks. You'll be amazed at the clarity that emerges. You'll start seeing the world through this new lens, noticing the invisible machinery humming behind everything. That was our look at Business Model Generation by Alexander Osterwalder and Yves Pigneur. We've journeyed through the core ideas today, but I'll be straight with you. A summary is like looking at photos of a beautiful city. The photos are helpful, they show you the layout, but they can never replace the feeling of actually wandering those streets yourself. The real magic happens when you crack open the actual book, when you see the gorgeous visual design, and when a particular example or simple diagram sparks something unique just for you. This summary is meant to help you decide if this book deserves your time. If anything we've explored today has sparked that fire of curiosity in you, I really encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about absorbing information. It's an experience that can genuinely transform how you see the world of creation and value. The link to the book is waiting for you in the description below. Also, if you found this journey valuable, please take a quick moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It shows us we're heading in the right direction and ensures you won't miss our next deep dive into another potentially life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep learning and growing together.